What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of the Buy the Hood podcast or webcast because I don't know how you're consuming this content. I'm your host as always. My name is Jimmy. And as we start off every show, that's with gratitude. Just want to say thank you to everyone and anyone who supports anything that we've got going on. Special shout out to all the students from Buy the Hood University, as well as the youth from the Buy the Hood Ownership Camp. We appreciate you guys. But I'm joined by my partner in crime as always, Core. What's up, good brother? You muted, man.
Oh, what's really good? How y'all doing today? Every day above ground's a good day. Let's go get it.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our brother Del P. I think you got that Del P hoodie. Is that what you got on right here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
shout to our Grammy nominated brother Del P, man. Shout to Del, man. But anyway, man.
Wordsmith, baby.
Yeah. As folks know, our platform is designed to highlight brothers and sisters who are doing positive work in the community, putting out positive energy, building businesses. Because our folks are doing tremendous things, and it's important that we highlight and talk to those. Man, this brother right here, is a brother that's in our community. He's doing all kinds of wonderful stuff, and I've been watching his movement as he has kind of started this movement in the real estate space in one of the most competitive markets. And I'm loving what he's building, man. I want to bring him on. Without further ado, man, we got our brother Chris Lee on. Chris, what's up, good brother?
What's going on, guys, man? Thank you for having me, both of you.
Thank you for being here, man.
Thank you for your time, man. Listen, man, what you're doing, man, you're in a competitive market for one, but you're putting people that look like us in position to succeed in real estate, and that's always admirable, man. So first and foremost, before we get into your story, just want to say salute and congratulations on all your success.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, man. It's been a long time, but definitely I feel like it's very close. I appreciate people like you. Stuff like this is what gets me to the top a lot faster. So yeah, man, all I want to do is continue to spread the knowledge and the wealth. We've had it, we just don't use it correctly.
That's right. So let's talk about your story, though. So where were you born and raised?
Downtown Brooklyn. I was born in Gowanus Projects. Yeah, humble beginnings. Very, very a single mom. I was raised in the projects. My mom did a few things to get me into better schools and better zip codes, like lying about where her residence was. And yeah, man. So I had a mom who was definitely very helpful in my success. She still is around helping me with everything I do. So yeah, man.
That's amazing, man. It's funny every time I hear someone say that, just thinking about the fact that your zip code can dictate like your education is actually insane to me. But I know it's a reality. But every time I hear it, it's like, it's crazy that we have to do that. Like, education is something that we all should have, but your zip code can literally, determine what kind of education you get.
Yeah, I saw the difference between my upbringing and those within the same building. So some kids that were literally on different floors and even on the same floor as myself didn't have the opportunity to get the education that I got. I went to PS 261 and we were zoned to PS 32s, which I think had a little less, when it came to the level of education. I was tested and put in a program that was specialized for like accelerated children. So I got an opportunity to deal with the gifted program. You guys probably heard of that. So
yeah,
I was in the gifted program. So I think I had a little bit of an edge because I had the best of both worlds. I knew how to get around in the hood, and then I was like one of the only people of color in my class. So just in kindergarten, I was the only child of color. And then in first grade, I had another friend of mine who was half Black and half Puerto Rican. So, I wasn't all the way alone.
Yeah. Yo, it's interesting too. So I was going to ask you what kind of student were you coming up, but I think you just said you were, in the gifted program. So were you always a good student? Were you always?
I was always good. I always, had to make. I was always a hustler, so I always did things that was, did things to make money, have the new Jordans, stuff like that. I always was very fashionable in regards to like having the first one to have the Jordans and first one to have the Carl Kanai suits and stuff like that. So, my mom, she definitely didn't always have it, so I had to go figure out a way to get it myself. Always the best of me. So, but yeah, so I definitely, only thing I had to do is keep good grades. That was one of her only rules, that I just had to keep really good grades. And, she would, like 50 said, His grandma got him the coat, and he got the hat to match on his own. That was kind of like me. I would want a little bit more, so I would just have to do what I had to do to get it.
Got you. So you've always been a hustler.
Always, I feel like I never had a fear of losing or fear of failing. I just never had that. So I just had no problem trying new things, new ways to, you know, I wouldn't say cheat the system, but just ways outside of the box. Like we were taught, just go get a job. I felt like, all right, I get a job, but then I do this on the side and I'm able to get, the extra things that I wanted, and the money that I worked for would go for the normal things. But I just had to have the extra stuff.
Where do you think that comes from? Like, is that a Brooklyn thing, or is it?
Yeah, definitely a New York thing. Definitely, it was a lot of competition in my projects in my hood. Whoever had the first Jordan, like the first one, where you would literally, back in the days, kids don't remember that, but where we saw the Jordans first, we would literally watch Jordan play on television, and we would like kind of zoom in.
No, I remember that. That's how you saw them.
We were like, yo, what are those? And then so we definitely, so I had to be the first one downtown Brooklyn, got my little sneaker plugs. Shout out to Manny. He definitely always kept me. Back then I used to pay like it was like $300 to $500 just to have my Jordans earlier. Yeah, that was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
When they were 120, I would pay, and I just to have all the kids like, oh yeah, I was like that.
That feeling was worth it for you, huh?
I would make sure I walk like I didn't even have to take the train. I would take the train on purpose. People could see my sneakers. Yeah, that was me. Definitely.
All right, no doubt. So what was that all throughout high school? So where'd you finish high school?
Fort Hamilton High School. So again, my mom was zoned to a really good high school. I didn't do well enough on the standardized test, so I didn't get into Brooklyn Tech like I wanted to get into. But my mom, she had a really good job that zoned her to live next to the Army base in Brooklyn. So I went to Fort Hamilton High School, and again, we had like 20 children of color in that school.
Yeah.
So I definitely had to keep my grades up. My last name is Lee, so most people at first glance thought I was Asian, so I got away with that.
Until you come walking in the classroom, like,
right? So
no, but shout out to moms though, because like throughout your story thus far, we've seen that moms like made
put you on.
Sure, yeah. She made sure that that you got the proper education and put you in the right place. So shout out to moms.
Yeah, shout out to mom. She's still there, just waiting to like buy our house like I promised her when I was a kid. My mom does her own thing. She bought her huge house in Florida. She's chilling, but I guess the only thing I could do now is like pay it off or get her like a vacation home or something. So I'm still like hustling to do that.
That's what's up, man. That's dope. That's dope. So after high school, what was your journey like? What did you do after high school?
After high school, I went to Kingsborough Community College. I was very into oceanography. I wanted to be a veterinarian at first. I loved sharks. I was huge on sharks. I just would stare at them for hours, deathly afraid of them, but I was intrigued. Intrigued by sharks. I loved my favorite movie was Jaws. So I went to Kingsborough Community College because I went there, I think, for some College Now program and saw that they had an actual shark on the campus. So I would literally spend like hours sitting there watching the shark in the shark tank. And, after that, went on to I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice. I wanted to be an attorney. Wanted to fight the power, I guess. I wanted to be a criminal justice attorney. I wanted to be like the defense attorney. A lot of my friends, in the hood, we would get harassed. One of my best friends, Nicholas Haywood, was killed while we were playing cops and robbers. One of the first, he had a toy gun that looked real, and cop killed him, and he just cop got off. So I wanted to be that guy that didn't let that happen anymore. So I went to I went to John Jay, got my associates. Then I went to Florida and got my bachelor's in criminal justice from the University of Central Florida. Met up with Michael Jordan's son, Marcus. So he was out there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really get a chance to like, hang out with him or anything like that. But, my last year there, he just joined school. So I thought that was kind of crazy. Now he opened up one of the dopest sneaker stores in Florida. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much my journey. Then after, I realized, I came back to New York and thinking that the attorneys literally were the guys who were driving the Porsches with the nice, three-piece suits. I started working for a law firm on Wall Street as a paralegal. And yeah, just I thought that they made a lot of money. Oh, most attorneys do not make a lot of money, and they work a lot of hours. And so again, I needed to have a little bit more than my little 40K paralegal job made. So I started selling sneakers on the side, and I was really good at it because I still have my sneaker plugs. I would get the sneakers early, and I did really well. So I started making more money doing that than working at the law firm. So I ended up, and I got in trouble for moonlighting because they always saw me like online doing things like on my phone. So, I just ended up quitting one day and just continued to sell sneakers. Then I opened up my own sneaker store called Pounds. It was a Pounds boutique. And it was I hope I could say these things because I don't know if you get Pounds was like what I was
Yeah.
Lana at the time.
Listen. We transparent here, brother. Let's keep.
You can say whatever makes you comfortable.
Absolutely.
Whatever makes you comfortable, though. Don't what I mean? Don't put yourself in no compromising position.
It's legal now, so like I legally have a marijuana company as well. We'll talk about that a little later. But I was selling, marijuana and sneakers and doing what I could to like just again stay up with the Joneses. I had to have like a BMW or a Mercedes. So was ever, from the hood, that's what you saw. You saw the idols from the hood were the guys who would drive up every once in a while in the foreign cars. Like we didn't see that as much. So that was who we idolized. So I guess that was the competition that we had. And I always, felt like I was just in my DNA. So, I was really good at it as well. So opened up a store called Pounds and did that for a while. Then, I opened up my own sneaker convention. I had one of the top 3 sneaker conventions in the world. It was called SoulCon. So you had SneakerCon, Dunk Exchange, and then SoulCon. So I had SoulCon. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but, I did pretty well. Did that for a while. I wasn't the best with like, with money in regards to like, just the way I would reinvest it. Everything came from my pocket. I didn't manage it very well. So, it was, I would put out 10 grand for a show and make back maybe 12, which I definitely should have been using sponsors and lots of other, so that happened.
I got a couple things based upon what you said. Like first and foremost, first thing I gotta do is I gotta put on the record that the first Jaws was amazing, but some of them Jaws after that was trash. I just want to say that, speaking about Jaws. The second thing, John Jay College. Every time someone says John Jay, I always think of like the Down with the King song, Run DMC. We said I went to John Jay University. It's reminding me of that. But the next thing is getting back to your story. I just had to put those things on the record. But when you look back now at the successes you've had in the early business, but you talk about how you really didn't understand how to reinvest or what to do with the money when you made it. Like when you look back now with the knowledge that you have now, I know you probably said, man, I could have really took this to somewhere else if I had this knowledge, right?
Absolutely. I definitely, missed a lot of opportunities by just not, I guess, analyzing and looking at the analytics of things that I was doing and just focusing on what worked and what didn't work. It was all about, being more like being popular and just, it was just very, very tough for me to like stay out of, trying to be the most, like I said, most popular guy. And
we get it. We all come from the same environments, right? So that's like
that's the cool kid.
That's
It's about being cool more than actually looking rich instead of actually being rich.
yeah, man. That's right. So
that's a word right there.
Yeah, that's what we ain't never allowed, but that's environment though, right?
That was all environment. It's what you look like. It's perception was reality.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
and like that lasted way too long. It definitely lasted way too long. I never realized why most of my friends, like that I grew up with in school, didn't really care about Jordan. Their parents didn't care about that stuff. They had the brownstones and Park Slope and Clinton Hills, and those were really prestigious areas, which still are now. Those neighborhoods are like $3-4 million houses over there, and back then they were unobtainable for our people.
yeah.
So it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. I mean, because I think that most of us are sold a lie in terms of what wealth looks like anyway. Because I wasn't an adult until I really understood it either. And part of it was getting into real estate, becoming a real estate agent. And then I would meet folks that were buying properties every week, every month, and they didn't care about any of that stuff. Nor did they even look like they had any money. A lot of them looked damn near homeless, and they were sitting in millions.
They say the guy in the suit works for the guy in the sweatsuit, right?
Yeah, this is absolutely
That's
true.
gangster.
So let's talk. So like I said, I told you this offline. I was like, man, I'm watching what you're doing with your Moving Keys movement, and that's very inspiring because you got folks that look like us who are you're putting in position in the real estate game. How did you go from where you were with the sneaker convention to when did the real estate come into play for you as a business?
When I feel like I bred a lot of competition, my own competition, I would, put a lot of people on and they would take a lot of my ideas. I felt like I was very innovative. So my ideas, I would never like copyright them or trademark them. And I would just speak about the things that I was doing before I actually had it like legally like mine. My intellectual property was just never a thing that I felt like needed to be protected. And so sneakers, when I, would make huge shows or make innovative products, like I had a bag called Soul Totes, which was a bag of a lot of people would come to my sneaker events and they would be carrying sneakers like stacked up, 7 boxes of sneakers stacked up and walking around with them. And I thought that was like, that was really not smart. So I created the first sneaker duffel bag that was actually shaped like a box of sneakers. It was rectangle, so it would fit about 7 to 12 boxes of sneakers in it. And it was waterproof and you can like wrap up your sneaker. Like it was.
Yo, you should be sitting on $70 million. Like, what the
Bro,
hell is going on?
Like you look up Soul Toast, it's pretty dope, man. And like my colleague ended up, taking that idea and like making something similar, and it was like a lot of heartbreak, when in the streets, like it's a lot about honor, but when you get into,
When you in business, there's no honor. If you don't protect it, somebody else is going to take it.
So that was the biggest wake up call when you have, you come from, the streets in the hood. They feel like, the streets in the hood really is a lot about your word and your honor. You didn't really copy many people, or you didn't, you got your own way. It was just that was just the norm. But in this corporate world, like when you talk about your intellectual property or you show anything too early, you are definitely gonna get your stuff stolen. And that was my problem. So, like I was saying, so when I stopped wanting to do things that were so easily copied, I felt like I really had a really good salesmanship. I don't think anybody could match me when it came to like selling and being innovative. So I felt I had to get into something that wasn't like played out or didn't like go out of style. So I thought real estate. Like I felt if I can figure out how to be innovative in this real estate market, because I knew sneakers would, right now they're still doing really well, but it's really tough to do what I was doing back then.
Mm-hmm.
If you had most money, you can jump into the sneaker game and be that it kid. It's still not, you can't just be that it dude without a lot of money.
Yeah.
So with real estate, I felt like if I, was innovative enough, that would never go out of style. So that's how I got into real estate. Started about 10 years ago. And yeah, I started real estate without a car. I didn't really realize how important it was to make it to the appointments before your clients did. So that was very humbling. I would literally, I had no car. I would have to show up to the appointments by train or cab. There was no Uber. So it was really tough. It was really, but it made me who I am. So I really got really good at it. I was again big on honor and honesty. So I think that translated to get me to where I am. People really trusted me because I am who I say I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
it's interesting because you're in a very, very competitive market too. I'll tell you this, right? So, I mean, a lot of people know that I do work in real estate valuation, and I'm looking at data pretty much every day. And about 3-4 years ago, I was looking at a map, and I was looking at the changes in price over time in terms of the valuation of properties. And out of the top 10 cities, right? I think four were like in Brooklyn neighborhoods, like four neighborhoods in Brooklyn were out of the top 10. I'm talking about 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm sitting there looking at the change in price, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know how anybody affords to live in Brooklyn anymore, right? You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm from Philadelphia, so what I know about Brooklyn is I listen to rap music, but when I'm looking at the prices and the change in prices, it's completely over the last decade and a half or so. It's out of control.
out of
So
control.
I can imagine your perspective in being from there and seeing that. So what has that change been like for you to see where these prices are?
It's kind of it's definitely scary, but at the same time, again, I love a challenge. I've always loved the competitiveness, and I felt like I could manage. So seeing some of our neighborhoods, the ones that most people wouldn't even walk in these neighborhoods, like Bed-Stuy and Brownsville and Bushwick and even Williamsburg. These neighborhoods were neighborhoods that most of the people who live there now would never even walk through. It was like infested with drugs and prostitution and drugs and gangs. And now these are the most expensive neighborhoods, like the ones that you're looking at. Where my office is now is Dumbo, and I made it my thing to put my office there because again, I remember when my mom would never let me even go to that neighborhood because it was so crazy, but it was overlooking the water and you could see the skyline from that neighborhood. It was built waterfront property. So I made sure when I had an office, I always wanted to overlook, like I have a vision board. I'm big on manifestation. So it's funny that now I see my office and it's literally the identical view of the city that I have on my vision board. Definitely something I always wanted to do. So yeah, so that was big for me. So seeing the change in the neighborhoods is like it's crazy because we built these neighborhoods up and now we can't even afford to live in them anymore. And
Yeah.
it's still happening. Like Brownsville, Brooklyn, where I'm sure you hear MOP and
Yep.
all exactly these neighborhoods. You have $1 million houses now, and
It's insane.
we're being bought out of it, and it's terrible. So
And
my
that
job,
rate of change, by the way, was even higher than Manhattan. And I'm looking at these numbers, and I'm like, the rate of change, and usually Manhattan is Manhattan. But now Brooklyn is its own animal. Like the rate of change is insane.
Brooklyn is where it's at because it's a 30-minute ride to Manhattan, not even 20 minutes depending on where you are. Bed-Stuy was like it's all about the transportation to the city. So you can get to the city pretty quickly. You want to live outside of where you work. You want to live, not right where all the congestion is. So Brooklyn happens to be that place. So it's happening there. Now you can see it happening to the Bronx because obviously Brooklyn is out of everyone's league,
Yeah.
but I just wouldn't let it beat me. I'm like, I lived here. I gotta figure out how I can manage to stay here. And to the grace of God, I was able to, buy my own house here and get my office here. But yeah, I also, I moved my brokerage from here, and I also have a brokerage in Orlando, Florida, as well. And
Okay.
I also hired an agent that has one in. I'm sorry, he's a broker, has an office in Atlanta. So moving keys is in Atlanta, Orlando, and New York City.
All
So
right. Yes. Yeah, that's fire. Let's talk about that. So Man, that's some powerful stuff. So you're building like, not even just your backyard, but you're expanding at this point.
Right.
Empire.
So yes,
Yeah.
I really I went down. I feel like it. I almost like did a long time in behind bars for some horrible mistakes that I made as a kid, and my mom sent me to like what Uncle Phil sent me to. So I went to, and the funny thing, I was in college for criminal justice when I got jammed up, but I definitely through the grace of God, I have no record at all. I was able to beat every charge, and then I just got my change and went to Florida and to Orlando in particular and became an adult. I feel so. I graduated from UCF. And I felt like I loved that town. I really do. I became an adult there. I have a lot of friends and family there. So, I always loved Disneyland. I went as a kid, so I figured, that was a great place to have an investment property. So a lot of people who have a home in New York City and they can't afford to buy an investment property here, I felt it was a really good idea, through Airbnb or some other, means to have your investment property in Florida or like someplace like Georgia. So I felt me having, you in any market, you need to have a niche. So I decided my niche would be that, I would specialize in relocation and vacation rentals or investment properties outside of New York City. So, and, I also have a management company, Lee Real Estate Group, Live Large. So the acronym is LRG. So you would basically, if you had an extra couple of dollars, you had a second down payment, you're 20% down on a $200,000 condominium is nothing like a $800,000 or $1 million property, in New York City. So excuse me, you hear I don't know if you can hear my dog snoring. I have two bulldogs. I don't know.
No, it's all good. We good. We good.
Yeah, we good, man. This is like I said, man.
My dog's name is Jaws. Like I told you, I was infatuated with one of them is Jaws and one name is Khaleesi. Obviously.
Oh, listen, say less. I got you.
Know. Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Winter
Yes, sir.
is
Yes,
coming.
sir.
Winter is here.
Yes, sir. So Orlando, Brooklyn, Atlanta. That's dope, man. So let's get back to the moving keys. Like, so what you started this whole moving keys movement. When you first started, did you always have the plans of getting your own brokerage and then building what you're building now, or were you just trying to get in the game and be an agent?
I started and got in the game, and I just never was someone who would like to work for anyone else very long. I love to get be an apprentice for a little bit, and then build my own way. That was always my goal without even thinking of it. I got into the game and to real estate because I wanted to get into something that I never thought would go out of style, and I didn't have to worry about shifting careers. And I felt like if you were gonna beat me or do what I was doing in real estate, you would have to it would work. It would have to be really tough. It would be tough for you to beat me or match my skill set, in that world. So that's why I got into it. And because of you, honestly, that's why I also moving keys, we also deal in real estate in the metaverse. So
nice.
I was on.
That's major.
Yeah, so I wanted to make sure I bought a piece of land in Decentraland, and I'm currently building, my real estate firm in the metaverse as well. So we can also sell plots of land and Decentraland first. You told me about OBR. I love it. I love the fact that you bought your old high school. I thought that was the coolest flex ever. And I was like, I thought it was the coolest flex. So I was like, all right, perfect. So I just I wanted to educate because I think this is, with times that we're in with crypto and the metaverse, I think this is the last opportunity that we really have to catch up. And if we miss out on this one, it's kind of over. So I wanted to make sure that I was educated in these fields and do my due diligence and do my thing to get my people involved in this field. That's pretty much.
That's amazing. Let me ask you this question though. When you talked about getting in trouble when you were in college and going to Florida and turning everything around, what was it that helped you turn things around? Was it a person? Was it that situation, or what was it that made you like get yourself together?
It was my mom. I felt like I was literally, letting her down. She went through everything she went through to get me to like not have the same outcome as the children in my school, like what I'm in my neighborhood. So I'm still doing these things that she tried to hide me from, and I just felt like I owed it to her to actually give it a shot at, business. And a lot of people really believe that, the easy way out is doing, or the easy way out is doing the bad stuff. But, it definitely didn't work out that way. It's, it's so much better when it's so much more money in other things than just
No
selling.
one understands that the real money is in doing the things that are really that rich people do. Like Jim always says, if you ever look at the Forbes list, they do three things: they own businesses, they own real estate, or they he said, was it businesses, real estate, or stocks?
Yeah, do the same thing. You do the same thing. It's investing, businesses and real estate. That's all. Like every year.
Trade. So I was like, it is the easy way out. And the funny thing about it is like that the money is, I'm huge on karma. Everything that you get one way, you get it fast, it goes out fast. And that was something that I couldn't like manage. I would get 20K this week, and next week I'm back broke. It was crazy. I was like, I can't keep doing that. So I said, let me just try it my mom's way for once. And I actually did. And it planned out, it panned out a lot better. I started, like seeing things on a larger scale, started meeting people that were like-minded, and obviously been through the things I've been through, and were making better decisions. And I got into, again, real estate because I felt like it was something that I could pass down. It was generational wealth, and I never wanted my kids to even have to make that decision to like even work. I mean, not even talking about like dealing drugs, but even working for anyone else. I want my daughters to absolutely like have an opportunity to work for me or for themselves. I saw like the kids that I grew up with, and when I went to school, and the school that I went to, and the white schools that I went to, they never even thought about getting a job. It was never. They knew that they would work for their parents as soon as they got out of school. And I was like, why do we not have those same opportunities? So I taught my daughter all about the metaverse, got her coding classes. I homeschool my kids. My kids don't go to school anymore, so that they don't have to unlearn anything.
Nice.
So, my daughter's already making thousands of dollars a week, selling NFTs, and, she's a streamer. She has, tons of, people watch her channel, and she gets tipped. It's crazy. She make like
That's amazing. That's dope. That's dope. You said this kid's out of school too. Said, nah, they coming. We going home.
Man, my kids homeschool.
I didn't even know that, Cole. I knew like, it's that cloth that will cut from, bro. Like we can't. Like I cannot let my daughter like go work anywhere.
My son is 15. He's in his sophomore year of college.
What? You see? Look, man, and it's not unbelievable. Like, yeah, Zoe will be graduating school really soon. She can graduate early,
because you got her, you did the homeschooling track, so she can graduate when she's ready to graduate, and she don't have to wait till she's 18 to graduate.
And these are things that you like that are very readily available, but no one even tries. Like we're given this outline or this cookie cutter life that we're supposed to live, and we don't even know what's available. People ask me all the time. So like, because I'm a snowbird. I live in Florida for the winter and in New York for the summer, like for about 9 months. And then I'm in Florida for about 3.5, months. And, but this year, I lost my grandmother. So I came back up.
Condolences.
Yes.
Condolences.
I appreciate it. So I came back up, for the funeral, and then, in New York, you get trapped. They said this is, New York is like a jail without bars. And it's true. You get trapped in New York, and I saw him here, but thank God I'm here, and I'm building my empire here, like you guys said. And I love it. Don't get it twisted. I love New York, but it's for the competition and the amount of money that you can make. But man, I never leave the house, so I could be literally living in Bahamas right now, like if I wanted to. Like,
yeah, that's the interesting thing. Like that's the one thing that like with the pandemic like slowed me down, but then made me realize like how much time I waste. Because a lot of times I would go to meet people, meet meetings, and I have several meetings a day now. I just jump on them Teams or a Zoom call, and like I'm handling more business. It's crazy, but anyway, I'm gonna focus on your story because like it's rather impressive. I know it's going to inspire some folks that might be where you started, might be where you're at. But let me ask you this: throughout this journey, what has been the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome to get you from where you started? Right, you said you started in the projects, and now you're someone who has a real estate brokerage in 3 different cities. You talked about owning a piece of the marijuana business, like you're doing your thing. What is that biggest hurdle you had to overcome?
discipline.
Okay, talk about it.
Just to stay disciplined, like do things like where it becomes just like automatic is really tough. You're drawn to do things that are easy, but for you to do the tough things that other people don't want to do every day repetitively, wake up early, eat correctly, read. In my house, I don't really have any televisions. I have a library. I have a TV in the basement for when we have family time. We want to watch like Billions or something like that. But other than that, like, I have to get rid of television. Just discipline in itself is just, I say encompasses my biggest hurdle. Obviously there's other things. Trying to be popular probably was it, but again, that all falls into discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I feel discipline was like my biggest hurdle. So, and realizing that like writing things down and manifestation and things that you say, I don't even say things that I don't want anymore. Like I didn't realize how powerful your tongue is and how powerful words are, and just how alignment and like following your gut, all of these things, again, discipline. So once I started listening to myself more, started doing things that I felt like the next person wouldn't do, I felt like that was the biggest hurdle that I've jumped. And now it's
and I know this question is probably like self-explanatory, but you talked about using vision boards and your admiration for vision boards. Like, so when did you start doing that and how that helped you?
Wow. I can't even express how important having a vision board is. Man, I made a vision board for myself. I don't even remember who told me about having a vision board, but it had to be about 3 years. I had this house for 3 years, going on 4 in May. So about 2 years before I bought this house in May, I was a real estate agent, and I just decided that I would try it out. Let me get a vision board. I knew to get the DuPont registry and just the Rob Report, dope magazines, and cut these things out, the things that I love to look at, and I would cut them out and just put them on this vision board and put them on a board, and somehow magically they would appear. Thought it was a joke. Bro, I go back like probably 2 years after I got my vision board, and I looked at my house. My house is identical to the house that I put on my vision board.
Wow.
And I put a G-Wagon on my vision board. I have that. I put a boat. I put 2 boats. I have actually 2 yachts, and I have a few businesses. Like I have a boat chartering company called Brooklyn Yacht Club, and I have 2 boats. And I promise you, do I know how I was able to afford them? No. But when I look back at my vision board, and it was like, yo, bro, I don't believe I have these things. I bought, watches, I put on my vision board. And again, I did not do anything besides put them on my vision board and just believe that, they would happen. And, now I'm on my second one. And I had every year on New Year's, instead of like going out to the party, I have a vision board party for New Year's. I have my friends over, and I brought a bunch of magazines and
that's dope.
Yeah, so I'll have a vision board party for New Year's, stuff like that. So manifestation, man. So did I answer your question?
No, absolutely. That's actually pretty amazing.
No, that's dope as hell.
That's pretty amazing, man. So Corey, you had a couple questions?
I do. The first question is, When you were while you were making your transition from the sneaker game into the real estate game, um, besides your mom, who would who focused you, helped you to focus on getting from point A to point B? Was there anybody else in your life that was able to put you in that, not put you in that position, but help you get to that position?
Wow, yo, I'm so happy you asked me that question because literally as you're asking me, I'm trying to like, what is he gonna ask? And I'm like, who can I think of that was super influential? And no one. He told me no one will believe me, but I'm sure people probably believe me now. But as I'm selling, I had a sneaker show that was coming up, and I was advertising for it, and I had this really cool idea. It wasn't mine, but it was a friend of mine. I thought it was an amazing idea. He had these soul savers. They were sneaker, the sole protector. You put it on the bottom of your shoe, and it
Yep.
would keep the bottom of your shoe new. I thought it was such a dope idea. So I was, advocating for it. He was a sponsor of my show, so I posted it on my page. And then this one guy, I call him Bruv. He's very low key. He doesn't want like a lot of people to know who he is. So I called him Bruv. He was from London, and he was like, "Yo," he called me Bruv as well. He's like, "Bruv, would you mind, like letting me have a pair of those? I like those soul. They were soul savers. You would let me have a pair of those souls? Can I have a pair of those soul savers?" And I'm like, "Sure." He's like, "Yo, can you meet up with me?" And I was going to the city to go buy some clothing for my sneaker store. I had a meeting at 24 Carat Showroom. So on the way there, me and my wife, we stopped by his place, which he lived on Wall Street. And I didn't even think of where he lived at the time. Well, I guess he had an apartment there. He lived in London, but he had a place on Wall Street. I didn't know who he was. I just saw him on Instagram. He didn't post a lot of pictures, but he would DM me every once in a while and told me like good job on things that I would do. He thought, he was just a follower of mine. I had a lot of followers at the time. So I stopped at Wall Street and I'm like, hold up, he lives here? I'm looking up. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So I get out, I'm like, there's nothing but the stock exchange down there. My office that I worked at wasn't too far away. I had the sneaker store after I stopped working at the law firm down on Wall Street. So I walk to his building. I walk inside and I see Ryan Leslie. I'm like, holy shit! Like, yo, this dude who I'm meeting is rich. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go up on the elevator, get out on I think it was like the 40 something floor. I forget what floor it is, and I'm walking to his door and the whole building is glass. So I'm looking outside. I'm like, yo, this dude I'm meeting. I'm like, yo, my wife is like, yo, who is this dude that you're meeting? I'm like, yo, I don't know. I don't know who he is. So I walk through the door and it's this big dude. He looks like a bodyguard, like just a big dark skinned dude, mad cool. So he welcomes me in. And I'll never forget, he's like, yo, have a seat. So I'm walking to his living room. And through the corner of my peripherals, I see somebody in the corner of my eye. And I'm like, nah, that couldn't be. Like, I'm just going to mind my business. So 2 seconds later, 50 Cent comes out of the room. 50 comes out of the room. 50's like, yo, what up? And I'm like, wait, what do you mean, what up? What up with you, nigga? You're 50 Cent. What do you mean? What up? Like, are you serious? So he give me a pound, and 50 is like, yo, I swear this dude is super first of all, he's not as tall as you think he is on television. Mm-hmm. So, but he's super intimidated because he talks to you like this close. He's like, yo, what up? I'm like, yo, what up? I'm like, yo, what's good? So I made sure I wasn't gonna get intimidated. I was like, yo, what's good? He's like, yo, and I started talking. I started telling him, he's like, yo, do me a favor. Stop introducing yourself. Stop introducing yourself. You wouldn't be here if I didn't know who you was. And I'm like, ooh, wow. So that was step one. Then he said to me, and I was literally, no joke, I was speaking to him for about 3 hours. I missed my whole meeting at 24 Carat Showroom. Yeah. I had a whole appointment. and he said, like, I said, yo, I got a meeting at this 24 karat showroom. He's like, what do you need? I said, I need sneakers. I need a Nike account. He was like, nah, you don't need a Nike account. I said, no, you don't need a Nike account. I need a Nike account. I was like, he called this dude, and as soon as he called this dude on, I think it was Skype or FaceTime or whatever we had at the time, and he had a bunch of shoes behind him. He was like, yo, you good forever. And I was like, yo, thank you. And so he was like, yo, it's same thing. Like, what was your biggest hurdle? Like, he asked me like something like around along those lines. And he said to me, he said, I got to remember exactly what he said. I said, well, I said, yo, I have a problem. Kids come up to me because I had these huge sneaker shows and I was like really one of the best sneaker collectors. And he's like, kids come up to me and they want my autograph. Like I feel weird about signing them. Mm-hmm. Like I just didn't feel like I should. I didn't feel like worthy enough to sign these autographs. And I just like, he's like, so don't sign them. He's like, you want to be the dude that signs the autographs or you don't? He said, you are who you think you are. And that hit home so much. He was like, yo, you want to be a regular dude, be a regular dude. Go ahead, go back to being a regular dude. But kids want to.
I can write that down because, like, yo, that's
or whatever you think.
No, because it's very short, but it says a whole lot.
Bro, he said, when I said I knew, no matter what 50 was doing, movies, 50 was doing, whatever he was doing, I can tell just by having this conversation with him that he was gonna be something. But like, it don't matter. 50 was gonna be a multi-millionaire. Like, bro, that dude is OD smart. And like, I mean, OD smart. Like, all of his music and stuff like may not like portray how smart he is. Like,
listen, here's what I'll say. I'll tell you this, right? It's two folks like that who are very brilliant.
Brilliant. 50, that's the perfect word. 50,
and it's gonna sound crazy, right? I think 50's bibliography is better than his discography. 50's books are amazing.
Yo, like, the law of power.
Listen, all of his, like, everything, his most recent one, like all his books are amazing, and they're business books. And I'm like, his business books are better than his albums, believe it or not. Like, I really,
mindset. All about mindset. And I didn't even take it in. I didn't take it in like really like at the time, but he kept saying to me, you are who you think you are. And I really go back to that conversation all the time. And how I manifest these things is I feel how I think I'm gonna feel when I have the thing. And I never not signed an autograph again. He was like, go ahead, don't sign them. Like, he was really like, yo, stop bitching. Like, you don't want to sign them, don't sign them. like, don't be like, you know what I'm saying? You want to be regular? Like the universe is giving you an opportunity to be a celebrity, but you're bitching about signing an autograph? Like, are you serious? Like, go back to being a regular nigga. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna sign these autographs. I feel like
I get it now.
I get it now. I feel like I am worthy. I am worthy enough to do this because obviously these kids see me as worthy enough to sign these autographs. So like, they want my autograph. I didn't ask them to sign it. So they must see something in me that I don't. And that was it. I think that's what changed my life, like, a lot. So since then I stopped, like, I started putting down things that I really want, really, really, really want. And that's
just go get it.
There.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the first question. Now my second question. Now that you have achieved the level of accomplishment in the real estate game, how do you maintain the friendships that you had before you got into the this level of success, or do you even maintain?
Yo, that's a rope-a-dope question, bro, because that's really it's an amazing question. It's one of those things that I struggle with now. It's really tough because the people that you once were friends with or hung out with a lot, you kind of have to be on the same frequency to kind of really to hang out with them. Who you are is who you hang around with, and
the energy.
Your energy, like, I'm huge on energy. Like, energy is everything to me. Like, so I won't deal with certain people just because, even if they have an amazing amount of money or amazing accomplishment,
Jim will tell you I'm an energy being.
Bro,
Yeah.
I don't mess with your energy speaks volumes, and I started paying attention to that so much more. So with that being said, most of the people who I grew up with, I do still see them. I go down to my neighborhood every once in a while, but they're on a different wavelength, and I try my best to teach them like the pieces that I thought about. I'll hand them books, and I'll hand them, send them, seminars and stuff that I've been through and that got me, because you can't just tell them, yo, you are who you think you are. You have to give them like all the things that I've been through, so I'll like a lot of ways that I find that is through books, but like they said, you want to hide something from a black man, you put it in a book. And a lot of us don't read, but I love to read, man. Like I really love to read. And funny thing, I mean, I probably should be reading more books, but I feel like some of the books that I've read, I really didn't. I say read them, or like I would go through, and every time you read them again, you would hear something new, or it sounds different, or sounds like a new book. So I read a lot of the same books over.
No, listen.
That's because your experiences are different. So
exactly.
when you read the book, you're reading the book from your experience level. So when you change experience levels, when you read the book, you're going to see something totally different every time you read it. Because me and Jim talk about that a lot, because we do a lot of rereads. I was just doing rereads last weekend, and
rereads everything.
Yeah, man, rereading is everything.
Wow. Yeah, man.
But to your point though, what you said something interesting, because I was thinking about this week, like talking to like a friend of mine, from old neighborhood, what have you. But it's like it's hard when you're talking to someone you care about, as a friend of yours, but you feel like you're bragging, but you're not. You're just talking about your life.
But the energy is, if you got to feel like you bragging, then you in the wrong room.
Yeah, so like,
that's
I mean,
true,
but I'm pretty sure we've all felt that before.
No, for sure, all the time. Because it's my. I feel like stunting on people is stupid, right? But on the other end, I don't want to dumb down my brilliance to be in a room. You know what I mean? Like, so, I constantly live that battle, which is why I asked that question, right? Because, we've attained a level of success here, through doing great business and doing the things that we do. And I still want to, be able to touch regular people. And so it's kind of crazy, how you got to tamp your energy down sometimes to be in a room to do the things that that you want to do.
It's a battle. It has to be a polar opposite of great. So it's going to be horrible parts of your existence as well, and that's one of them that I've battled with. Like, you have to leave your friends behind, so you have to choose who it's going to be. Is it going to be yourself or your friends? You know what I mean? Like, so you have to choose yourself. So like, I battle with that, but at the end of the day, I know when it's their time, it's going to be their time, and I just do my best to leave an open door and try to leave little breadcrumbs to figure out where I came from. So you'll see me do a lot of, posts and little, free, like my own little seminars and my own little lives, and I'll drop gems. But a lot of people just think I'm bragging, and I'm really not. I'm really not. I never was the person. I always used to get in trouble. As a child, I had bunk beds, and we lost court.
Yeah, he'll be back. Yeah, computer must.
No problem. So as a child, I had bunk beds, and I was an only child. So I was like, my mom, like I said, she was super like dope, but she had, a great job and was able to give me extra. So I was in trouble for giving away like my sneakers. I would give away my Jordans, give away, I would let kids sleep over my house every night because some of their parents were on drugs, and I would give away my clothes. So but most people who didn't know me thought I was just bragging or showing off, but definitely wasn't that. Definitely. So yes, I battle with that all the time. So Court, even though that's line,
yeah, that's a constant struggle, right? But you put up your love of books, right? Give me a couple of your favorite books. Like, what are some of the books that inspired you along your journey, or something that you go back and reread? What are some of your favorites?
Number one to me is The Master Key System. Have you ever read that by Charles Hannell? Charles Hannell, The Master Key System, obviously Think and Grow Rich. That was definitely it. And The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. those are the and again, like a lot of people don't like to read, but now with that we're in the technology world, you can YouTube and audiobook all of these things, and instead of listening to low vibrational music, sometimes when you're in the gym or in your car, you can listen to these books, and trust me, like your subconscious is super powerful, and you'll start obtaining these messages and these teachings that will let you know that the way that you thought the world was, or way taught the way you think the world is, it isn't that way. It starts inside. It starts in your mind, and as long as you have a beautiful inside of your mind and beautiful inside of your existence, the outside will match. It'll follow. So, yeah. So I think those three.
Those some classics right there.
Yeah, and one other that it's not a book, but this dude, I'm sure you've heard of him, but a lot of people probably haven't because they've been like shadow banning him. Kevin Trudeau. Yeah. He has this series called "Your Wish Is Your Command," and you could possibly still find it on. I'll send you the link, so probably you could send this out because I still have the download of the PDFs and the it's on my Dropbox. But Kevin Trudeau, "This Is Your Command." It was a seminar that he had, and now Kevin Trudeau is actually in jail. He actually said it that there's the secrets from these secret societies that most of them don't want regular people to know is what you think is what you really become. That what a man thinks is who he becomes. So these teachings were hidden, and they keep them hidden for a reason. So those would be my three books and one seminar that I think molded me into who I am. And I still read them. And one of the things Kevin Trudeau talks about is you never got it. You're always getting it. Like you're always getting it. You don't ever got it. So once you say you got it, that means you're cutting your teachability index is dropping to zero, and your teachability index has to stay high. You have to always be teachable, and is what your willingness to learn and what your willingness to accept change. And
always,
once you got those two things very high, that means you can intake information. And yeah, my teachability index is always high. So I always listen to you guys, and I appreciate what you're doing. I love what you guys are doing, and I will always support it. I can't thank you guys enough. OVR, like that, one of the messages you told me about grabbing, like your high school again. I'll mention that again. Yo, I gotta do that. I will buy one of my haters' houses. I will buy it.
So now we're back. Put experiences, put all kinds of weird experiences in front of the whole house in the metaverse.
But you know what though, man? Listen, man. Thank you too, man. Because you, like I told you this offline, man. You inspired me as well. I see what you got going on. That's why I reached out to you about bringing you on because, I've been working in real estate. I know how difficult it is to start a brokerage, and I see what you're growing. And the folks that work with you, they look like us. So you're putting them in position to succeed as well. Yes, Before we go though, tell me about the your foray into the marijuana business, legal this time.
Bro, thank you so much. I actually wanted to make sure that I said something about it because I really have this great product called Canhiba. Obviously, it's a cigar, mimicking the Cohiba. It's like for the upper class. Like my mom always told me never sell anything that you won't buy yourself. Marijuana, I feel like, can easily, I don't feel like it's an addictive drug, but it definitely can be abused because people don't use it correctly. So I got into, I'm too old, I'm too busy to be high, like smacked anymore. So I have taken a liking to CBD. Now, a lot of people look at CBD. A lot of our culture look at CBD. That's nothing. Like it might as well just smoke cigarettes because it doesn't do anything to you. But there's a different cannabinoid called Delta 8 as opposed to Delta 9. Delta 9 is the traditional weed that everyone smokes and gets high and makes you lethargic, makes you forgetful, makes you paranoid, has the psychosis. Well, Delta 8 doesn't have any of those qualities. It doesn't make you lethargic, and it doesn't give you like the munchies, or it makes you paranoid. Delta 8 has all the qualities of Delta 9, but doesn't have it doesn't make you paranoid. You can literally think a lot better and makes you think clearer. And so it's a CBD infused with Delta 8. So it's called Canhiba. It's a Delta 8 cigar, and it's absolutely like one of the things that I feel like, and like I mentioned, I taken a liking to yachting and boating, and I would love to get into golfing. So I kind of geared it towards that, those markets. So it's a high class, cigar, and it's, definitely inhalable. It's all natural. The whole cigar is, tobacco free. Even the paper is hemp, and the glass tip is reusable. So I made sure, I left a very small footprint, carbon footprint on the world. It's called Canhiba. You can check it out at canhiba.com.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the description too, so everybody can take a look at what you have going on.
And also Canhiba. So that's how it's spelled. So yeah, it's I really stand behind it because it's a good way to get out of smoking tobacco if you smoke it, or if you're smoking weed and you feel like you're abusing it. This is an excellent caveat. It does, and also what's my favorite thing about it is it doesn't smell like, like I go into big meetings, and again, I don't use it as much, as I would in the past, but you don't smell like, dang, back in the days you wanted to funkiest bud. You wanted to be that dude that you went by with woof, like nah, but it doesn't. It's very discreet. It has you can throw it back in the tube and turn it off and turn it back on as you want. And it's really, really cool. So that is my next project that I'm working on, and I love it. And then and the last thing was the Brooklyn Cove Yacht Club. I have taken. There's not a lot of. Let me not say there's not a lot of us. We just don't know them. They're just so low. But a lot of our people like on the water, and it's a totally different world out there. Like say 70% of the earth is water, and there's a lot of it that we don't see. So I take a liking to boats, and I feel like all three of my businesses kind of have some type of like relationship, real estate, yachting, and cigars, like all
lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. So I have a luxury residential and commercial real estate firm, luxury cigar, and also a yacht club. So those are my babies. I have tons more businesses that, again, you can be one of those, master of many. You have a bunch of different trades, but you don't master any. So I feel like I had to stop, creating and focus on these three brands, and I really like them. And when I have time to be, everything is moving like a well-oiled machine, then I feel like I can keep creating. But Absolutely. Right now, these are my babies.
Yeah, man. So listen, man, I just want to say continued success with everything that you got going on. Keep inspiring because, we're all watching, man. Like, and it is very inspiring to see what you're doing, man. And also now to hear your story about where you come from, it's even more inspiring, right? Because I'm pretty sure there are folks that grew up in the same building as you that aren't doing the stuff that you're doing right now, man. So that's kind of dope. Shout out again to moms too, man, because moms was paramount in this story, man. She definitely did her thing, and
shout out to mom.
Send 50 one of them Canhibas.
Yo, bro, I'm definitely going to, like, I told myself that I told him that we're gonna be doing business together one day. And I promised him that we would. So I'm gonna ship him, and I'm gonna ship you guys some cigars. So you guys just make sure.
Definitely.
Text me your PO box or your address. I'll send you some cigars.
Listen, we got your number now, bro. We good. And also, we're gonna put all the links to your businesses and everything you got going on within the description. So for our folks out there, make sure you hit them up. Check out everything he's got going on in the real estate space. Is all the luxury brands. Like, and make sure you share this episode with your people, because this was a pretty great talk. And just want to say thank you for your time, Chris, man. We definitely appreciate you, brother.
No, I appreciate you guys more, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll be there every Saturday. I need that paycheck Friday still. I need that paycheck. I missed it, man. I'm busy. But
yeah, I know. Our Friday trip.
We gotta help our people get to the bag so that they can get this high end kind of Canhiba. You know what I mean? Yeah. For real,
money is the byproduct, bro. Money is the byproduct of service. I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks again.
That's good, man.
And
absolutely. If for our audience out there, like I said, check them out. And as we always say, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. Game elevates, and we'll see y'all guys on our next episode. Peace.